All right, let's talk Italian wine. But for a second, I want you to forget Tuscany, forget Piedmont. We're going on a journey south to uncover one of Italy's absolute best-kept secrets. We're heading to the volcanic heart of Campania, a wine region with a story that's as dramatic as its incredible landscape. This really says it all. I want you to think of this as your own personal tour of a land that's been shaped by ancient vines, powerful volcanoes, and just breathtaking coastlines. And to really get it, we have to start with its history. So our journey kicks off with a look back at Campania's legendary past. Now, its famous neighbors to the north, they tend to steal the spotlight, right? But this region, this is a true cradle of Italian winemaking. We're talking roots that go back thousands of years. Just look at this timeline. The sheer depth of Campania's story is amazing. It all started way back in the 8th century BC when Greek colonists showed up with the first grapevines. By the time the Roman Empire was in full swing, this region was a powerhouse. They were making a wine called Falerno, which was basically the first growth wine of the ancient world, famous because it could age for decades in clay pots. That knowledge was kept alive through the Middle Ages by monasteries, leading all the way to today, which is seeing a total, full-blown renaissance. So what is it that makes these wines so incredibly unique? Well, the secret isn't just buried in history books, it's literally in the land itself. Campania's character, its very soul, is forged by two massive forces: the volcanic fire bubbling up from the earth and the cool, salty breezes blowing in from the Mediterranean Sea. To really get Campania, you have to wrap your head around one crucial idea: terroir. It's everything that gives a wine its personality: the soil, the weather, the lay of the land. And in Campania, the terroir is absolutely dominated by the majestic Mount Vesuvius and that beautiful Mediterranean coast. That combination, that's what gives these wines this totally unique profile, often with this amazing smoky or flinty character you just don't find anywhere else. And check this out. This shows just how diverse the region is. You go inland to the mountainous areas like Irpinia, and the high altitude and cool air create these elegant, super fresh wines with incredible acidity and minerality. But then you head down to the coast, say the Amalfi Coast, and the warmer climate and those sea breezes give you wines that are fuller, way fruitier, and more mature. It's like two completely different worlds in the same region. Okay, so we've got the lay of the land. Now it's time to meet the real stars of the show, the ancient, native grapes that are the soul of Campania's wines. We're not talking about your typical Cabernet or Chardonnay here. These grapes have been growing in this very spot for centuries, if not millennia. First up, let's talk about the undisputed queen of Campanian reds, Aglianico. Seriously, if you want to understand the power and the prestige of Southern Italian wine, you start right here. This grape is so respected, it's often called the Barolo of the South. That's a huge deal. So what's the secret to Aglianico? It's all about structure. It has these really thick skins, which means wines with high tannins and high acidity. That gives it this incredible power to age for decades. When it's young, it's bursting with dark fruit, but give it time and it develops these amazing, complex notes of tobacco and leather. This is the grape behind the legendary Tarazzi, a wine that has Italy's highest classification, the DOCG, which is basically a guarantee of its world-class quality. But hey, Campania is not just about big, bold reds. The region is just as famous for its absolutely stunning white wines. And they're led by a celebrated trio that I like to call the three white musketeers: Fiano, Greco, and Falangina. This chart breaks them down perfectly. Fiano, that's the elegant, complex one. It's famous for notes of hazelnut and, believe it or not, it can age beautifully. Then you have Greco, which is super aromatic and has this intense minerality, with those classic notes of almond and green apple. And finally, there's Falangina, the fresh, fruity, and just all-around versatile one, bursting with flowers and tropical fruit. Each one tells a completely different but equally delicious story about Campania. Okay, we've talked about the land, we've talked about the grapes, so how does it all come together in the glass? Well, let's get practical and talk about tasting the soul of the region. And that is all about pairing these incredible wines with Campania's world-famous food. This is such a perfect example. Let's say you've got a classic dish, spaghetti alle vongole, spaghetti with clams. So what do you pour? A Fiano di Avellino. And here's why it works so beautifully. The wine's got this vibrant acidity that just cuts right through the richness of the olive oil in the pasta, totally refreshing your palate. And at the exact same time, that salty, saline minerality from the volcanic soil perfectly mirrors the fresh, briny flavor of the clams. It's just a perfect match. All right, let's bring our story right up to the present day. Because while Campania's roots are ancient, what's happening there right now is incredibly dynamic. The whole region is in the middle of a modern renaissance, and it's finally getting the global recognition that it has deserved for so long. So what's driving all this excitement? Well, you've got this new generation of winemakers who are blending age-old traditions with modern know-how. There's a huge focus on sustainable and organic farming, and because of that, the quality is just skyrocketing. Wine tourism is booming, and the rest of the world is finally waking up and realizing what a treasure this place is. And that's really the exciting question, isn't it? When you have a place with such deep roots and all this new energy, the potential feels absolutely limitless. This isn't a region that's just resting on its history. It's actively shaping the future of Italian wine. And that is a story that is definitely worth watching. You know, in the end, we can talk about history and soil all day long, but the real discovery, that happens in the glass. I really hope this has made you curious. The next step is all yours. Go out, find a bottle of Fiano or Greco or Aglianico, and taste this incredible volcanic treasure for yourself. Cheers!